Based on our knowledge on how to add and subtract and multiply or divide the rational expression, we're gonna try to solve rational equation. So as you can see in this example, this is an equation that has a rational form, means the bottom, the denominator has the variable and also the top. So to solve this equation, you have to follow 4 steps. First, you have to factor the denominators to find the LCD. LCD is the least common denominator. And then you're going to multiply both sides by that variable or the expression to clear the fraction. And then after that point, we are not going to have any rational expression. It will be just plain equation. It can be either linear, quadratic, or polynomial. Then you're just going to solve the polynomial. Last step is important because you have to check for extraneous solution, and then when you do that, you use the original equation. So let's do the first step of factoring the denominators. So if you look at this denominator, you cannot factor this anymore, x plus 3 as well, but you can still factor x squared minus 9. So if I do that, I can factor this to x plus 3, x minus 3. And then everything else will be same because they are already in factorial form. Okay, so we did the first step. Now, once you factor it, you can find the LCD, the least common denominator that includes x minus 3, x plus 3, and this will be, in our case, will be x plus 3 times x minus 3. Because it has a factor of all of them, and also it's the least possible expression. The second step is to multiply both sides by the LCD that we have just found, because in any equation, as long as you do the same thing on the both sides, that's always valid. So we're going to multiply both sides by the LCD. The reason for this is so that we can clear the fraction. So I will put this parenthesis around the left side, and then I will multiply both sides by the LCD. And I will multiply that by the LCD. Okay, so when you multiply on the left side, because you have two terms, you have to distribute each of them. So if you do that, this times that, and the x minus 3 will cancel out. You will only have x plus 3 and x. So as a result, you will have x plus 3 and x. I will just write x on the left side. Plus, if you multiply this by that, x plus 3 will cancel. So you will only have x and x minus 3. So you have x and x minus 3 is equal to, now this is just a fraction, so you can, because these expressions are these over 1, so you can just cancel x plus 3 and x minus 3. You will only have 2 over 1, which is 2. So because we clear the fraction, now it's just kind of simple polynomial. So let's distribute all that and then simplify so that we can solve it. So if I distribute, I will get x squared plus 3x plus x squared minus 3x is equal to, you can combine like terms, so 2x squared, and this and that will cancel, is equal to 2, and you can divide both sides by 2, you can get x squared is equal 1. Now you can square root both sides with plus and minus, you get x is equal to plus and minus 1. So we have two candidates. Final step will be checking for the extraneous solution. So only thing you have to think about is the denominator should never be 0. So that means if you plug in any of this number, 1, positive 1 or negative 1 into the original equation, it should never create a 0 in the denominator. So obviously only numbers that will make the denominator equal 0 will be 3, negative 3, those two numbers only. If you plug in 1 or a negative 1, it's not going to be 0. The bottom can never be 0. So you can just say that x equals to 1 or minus negative 1 is the final answer. Let's look at the second example. So what is the solution of this rational equation? So we're gonna do the same thing. The first step is to factor the denominator as much as possible. So this seems like it can be factored into x plus 1 and x plus 2. So factor that plus, and x plus 2 cannot be factored anymore, x plus 1 cannot be factored anymore. Now we look at the denominator, this, and then we look for the LCD. LCD is, in this case, x plus 1 times x plus 2. So I'm gonna multiply both sides by the LCD. I need parentheses around here because I have two terms. And then I'm just gonna distribute. So this times that will be, it seems like we have two common factors, so both of them will be cancelled. I will only have x minus 1. And if I distribute to here, seems like x plus 2 will be cancelled. I will have 2x, and I will have x plus 1 is equal to, x plus 1 and x plus 1 will cancel. I will have x minus 1 times x plus 2. Now it's just a matter of distributing and simplifying. So x minus 1 plus 2x squared plus 2x is equal to x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2. We can combine like term first. So 2x squared, and then I have 3x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus x minus 2. Now I can set one side equals 0. So I'm going to subtract x squared, and then I'm also going to subtract x, and then I'm going to add 2. Then will give us x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now I can just factor that to x plus 1 squared, and we can square root both sides with plus and minus, and x plus 1 is gonna be square root of 0, which is 0. X will end up being negative 1. So let's look at the original equation to check our answer. If x is negative 1, does any of the denominator become 0? Yes. This number will make that denominator equal 0. So that means this is the only possible solution we got from the equation, then it ends up being the extraneous solution. That means there is no solution, because only solution we got is extraneous.